Hello and welcome back to Exeter City, where things are going pretty much as you'd expect for a team that is barely reputation-wise in the Championship. Premier League hasn't been kind to us so far, but I have solved one mystery. And it's why we didn't go to Ashton Gate. It's because Bournemouth are there currently, whilst their stadium is being built. They're not going to be in their stadium for another 3 years. So that's why we're not playing at the more local Bristol, and instead of playing at Millwall. Why we're not playing at Southampton, not sure. Or even Portsmouth Stadium would have been big enough to account. They're both nearer. But anyway, the results since we last met, not been great. We did have 2 wins back-to-back in the middle there, which did get us 6 very valuable points. 2 one-goal margins. Otherwise, it's not been fantastic. I basically immediately decided to switch to the Volante formation because it's worked well in the past when you're massive underdogs, and, well, it's not really worked that well here. Fernandez scored in a 3-1 loss against Leeds. The Bournemouth game was sort of abject, frankly. They scored 2 goals late on after it was 1-1. Gave away a penalty in it. Tottenham, we were not in at all until about the 55th minute. After they scored, I changed things up. I went to the Hanover 4-2-2, and then we were in it. Matt J equalised, and then Hozek ruined our dreams by scoring in the 90th minute. However, it's the opposite tale for the 4-3 against West Ham, where we scored in the 91st minute. The 4-2-2 was utilised here. We did give away chance after chance, though. Whilst we were in the game, we weren't deserved winners, so in a way, that's kind of our karmic retribution for the games that we were sort of in, but didn't get anything out of. We did beat Aston Villa 1-0. I immediately chickened out and went back to the Volante, by the way. And it worked against Aston Villa, at least. Didn't work against Liverpool, where they scored 4 goals of their own regard, and 1 thanks to Rajkovic. It's Aaron Martin's own goal, but it's Rajkovic's fault. It was also Rajkovic's fault for the Wolves 1-0 loss, so he's cost me 3 points there. Well, he's cost me 1 point there. He's on his final mental warning at this point. He got a 6.9 on the game, even though he was the one directly at fault for the goal. And we did draw 1-1 with Everton, a sort of okay game. Neither team were particularly fantastic. Good Johnson getting the equaliser. We'll play a series of what happens next with this particular highlight. You know the final result, though. There's Robertson. I think this might be a dead ball situation, considering where the players are, but there's Robertson with the ball. You probably know what he's going to be trying to do here. He's got all his space in front of him. There's Salah at the back post. You'd presume that to be the intention right now. Obviously, Aaron Martin, the one marking him. Rajkovic's position does concern me already, looking at the highlight back again. He's begging for someone to come in from this behind and just pop that in from the way he stood right now. But Rajkovic has been far more suspect in this Exeter team than he ever was in the Hanover team. Anyway, Robertson pops the ball in, and obviously it goes to the back post where Salah's waiting. Aaron Martin gets in the way. Good job, Aaron Martin. Now, at this point, no reason to be concerned. All he's doing is just passing that back to the goalkeeper for the goalkeeper to clear. In this situation, this is one of those rare situations where I'm happy for the goalkeeper just to hoof it up the pitch, because there's 2 other Liverpool players in dangerous situations to maybe intercept a pass. But no. What Rajkovic decides to do instead is lightly jog towards the ball and let it go past him. I fined most of the players after that game, even though it wasn't really their fault for the majority of it. Obviously, we were utterly dominated. Liverpool did beat Newcastle 6-1 recently, so we're not alone in this demolition, and one of them was our own mistake. So, if anything, we had a better result than Newcastle there. We had 1.5 XG in this game, which is more than we've had in other games that we were in. Weirdly similar sort of XG story to the Arsenal game, where we were demolished as well. In the fact, it probably should have been a 3-1, 3-2-ish kind of situation that's ended in a very one-sided game. When you compare that to, say, the Wolves game, which we weren't in at all, and we've only lost 1-0, and their goal, I want a written explanation from Sports Interactive to explain how this has happened. So bringing the speed back down again, Fabio Silva on the ball here. There's Dendoncker. He's the one I think, Mascaro actually is the one who puts the ball through, I think. There's Johnny. Completely abandoned, by the way. Completely abandoned. Not a single person anywhere near him. Defensive awareness, non-existent from Aholo there, or McKenna. McKenna is the biggest question there, actually. He's the man that should be here. But I'm going to bring the highlight back because we need to ignore the defensive situation here where I don't know what McKenna's doing. But it's Rajkovic we need to pay attention to. In this back corner here, just watch what he does as Johnny approaches here. Yeah, I would like some kind of written explanation from Sports Interactive, as I said, to explain how in God's name the engine decided that was what Rajkovic should be doing. There's no explanation for it. There's no explanation at all. That's absolute nonsense. Absolute nonsense. One transfer in, though, since we last met, Nicolas Moreau. He's been on my radar for a while. Obviously, with no actual transfer funds, I figured we need a fullback because of Martin's injury. He's back, of course, now, but it did very much highlight the situation if he ever gets injured again or suspended, gets a little questionable. So we did need another fullback in, one that can maybe play both sides. He can't really do both sides, but definitely plays right back to allow Arroyo to play left back. The thing is, he's not very good going forward, and he does have stays back at all times, which is not a beneficial thing for a fullback to have. We are trading that off him. But nor is he a centre-back. Despite the fact he's 6'1", nor is he a centre-back because he can't head the ball. Or really pass the ball, which is problematic in its own regard. But he's been on my radar for a while because he does have that potential ability, probably. We don't know because it's only been marked against players like Sonny Perkins, who aren't necessarily Premier League elite yet either. So he's got enough potential to be a Premier League player, probably. But he's one of those youth players that really confuses me in this year's game. He's one of those youth players that when you approach to sign him or register your interest in him says, I'd rather stay at my club to develop. Well, I'm happy to go on loan, which feels completely backwards to the way it should be. Like, at the very least, the response should be, I'm not interested right now, but I might be in a couple of years' time. A loan is the most immediate thing not to be at the club. If you go on loan, you're not developing at the club, are you? So it's a weird quote that's all over this year's game, and I don't know why. I approached him for his availability again. He was actually happy to join on a transfer. We just didn't have the funds, so we've loaned him with a mandatory future fee, and we are paying his full 600 quid wages for a year. That becomes about 10,000 next year. But one of the downsides of loading him is apparently I can't teach him English. Another one for Sports Interactive. If a player is joining me, if I've got a player on loan with a mandatory future fee, he's effectively mine. I should be able to teach him anything that I can teach him. I can train him. I can train him with traits. I can train him with things. But I can't teach him English. And quite frankly, that should apply to any player with a future transfer, even if they're not at the club. You should be able to teach the language to them before they get here. But that's a slightly separate issue. We've changed formation, by the way. The Volante wasn't really working either, because I think one of the main issues right now has been the winger positions, so I've scrapped them entirely. Bowen Mansali, we've already sort of judged to possibly actually be a central midfielder, so he gets to play central midfielder attack, whilst also not sacrificing Sonny Perkins. One thing it does mean is we don't really have any backups for the strikers right now, because the only three people who can sort of play striker are on the pitch already, but we'll cross that bridge if we ever come to it. Currently, Bailly is returning from injury and Gonda's out entirely, but that's not really that problematic. And Ahulu is suspended. I've not been overly convinced by Scott McKenna this season so far, so Stubbs is going to actually play a game alongside Zeziger on his more preferred left-hand side. Mwepu is playing the ball-winning midfielder in Ahulu's absence. Ours is on the right side as a box-to-box. This formation is sort of best of three worlds, whilst also taking advice from the internet and just doing a bit of research in my own regard into two striker systems, because I want to get them both on the pitch. They work very well in the 4-2-2, which is just incredibly open, and that is going to punish us more than it's going to help us. So in theory, this is going to be a slightly more defensively solid system that should also still be attacking enough to be attacking. Now, I'm actually going to make one concession there, make Mwepu more defensive in his own mindset. But in terms of individual instructions and overall team instructions, I've done my research into two striker systems, and this feels sensible for the players I've got. Whether we change the striking roles, particularly whether we change the midfielder roles, we'll see as the game develops. But Aaron Martin's got a throw in, and he's thrown into his own player. You may be surprised at me saying that, but you would be surprised how often that hasn't happened. Actually, you saw it in the first episode. Aaron Martin back on the ball again, crosses it all the way across, and to no one at all. That's been hoofed back across the pitch, and Aaron Martin's actually got in the way of that, but we have been tackled immediately. We've got the ball again. Sonny Perkins from the edge of the box goes for it. Not the end of the highlight, I don't think, judging by the text. Musso hoofs it, and that could be useful, or we could just ignore jumping altogether as an option. Darwin Núñez, I don't believe, is one of the tallest players at all, so the fact that Sam Stubbs hasn't jumped there at all, odd. And also, concerning. Eriksson crosses this ball in, and Núñez close on the corner. How tall is Núñez? Because he should not have got on that corner. Oh, he is 6'2". It's always one of those players that you just feel like is a stereotypical diminutive South American, but he isn't. Key to Rahman. Key again. Tackled, I think, but we've got the ball back. Key, ours, Mwepu, holding firm a little bit further back. Aaron Martin. Whether I go to effectively full diamond or not with the halfback or anchorman or something like that, not quite sure yet. We've hit the bar, I think. Exeter enjoying themselves, says the text. I'd be enjoying it more if we scored. Eriksson, Diego Carlos, Key clears, and Rahman can actually do something here. We've got a player running in. We've got a couple of players running in, although he has just been tackled, so never mind. Obviously, it's not a goal, otherwise it would have counted by now. Mansale, Zeziger. Sam Stubbs is actually the club captain, even though he's not playing games. Just because he's been captain for a couple of years, it's a bit difficult to not make him captain anymore. But Ars gets this ball. So for the first time this season, we've had our actual club captain on the pitch. Rajkovic is vice captain just because he's pretty good as a team leader. Good Johnson's there. Rahman's put the ball in. He's run off with his arms down. I am not confident this is a goal. They're appealing for offside. I think they'll get it. I mean, is he? Are those lines accurate? I don't know. I suspect the lines are accurate, just the player models aren't. Perkins, that's the way it usually goes. Good Johnson. Because don't forget, this is still a 2D match engine that has been transcribed to 3D, I think. Rahman to Key. Whips that across. Baba Mansley's on the other side. Whips it back in again. Souček's in the way. Aaron Martin on the edge of the box. We are being more of a threat in this game. It does feel like. Ars. Key. Mansley's there. Back out to Mwepu. See, this is the main difference I've seen in this particular match to all the other matches previously, except for the West Ham match. When we've been unsuccessful in an attack and the ball's come clear of the goal again, we're there to pick it up. That's what's been missing, really, is that sustained pressure. We usually just lose the ball and then we're out of it. But it's a very average game, and Newcastle are a European team. Like I say, they did just get smashed 6-1 by Liverpool, but they are in Europe, which might be why they're a little bit tired, I've just noticed as well in terms of the conditionings. But Perkins to Ars, Stubbs, Ars, Key, Perkins, Mwepu. And yeah, there's obviously also an argument for, yes, I am aware there's a bit of an argument for, it's always going to be tough in the Premier League. You should have just stuck with your formation as it was. But I kind of just felt it wasn't getting the best out of players. And looking at the fullbacks, 7.1, 7.5, Saint-Maximin scored a blinder there, but they've been woeful all season. If I can get the fullbacks to do something, then that's something. Does that go straight from Aarons? No, it goes from Bruno Guimaraes, which explains more. But Maximan has broken free of Key, I think it is there. But the fullbacks are playing well. Rajkovic has sort of let basically one of the only chances in, but it was a very good strike from Saint-Maximin. Exeter is on the pitch. We must have had a set piece that I haven't really seen. Oh, did we just have a throw in there? They are up for throw-ins. Stubbs has gone from distance. Vincent Kompany, you are not. It's not a very thrilling game. The XG for either side is quite low, but this is a game that could go either way. Aaron Martin, Good Johnson's just head the ball. Aaron's. Willock. I'm actually surprised Willock's still there 4 years in. Aaron's. I know he was still in my team 4 years in, but I would have thought the AI would have been a little bit more ruthless. I know he's a sub here. Gonna make a change, but there's another highlight. Diego Carlos to Souček, Ibanez, Darun to Willock, Darwin, Key, clear to Good Johnson, who has headed it on, but Rahman's not paying attention and doesn't get there first. Highlights continued. Willock charging down the right-hand side. Good God, what was that? Broke physics there, I think. Souček's played Saint-Maximin in, and Rajkovic has come out of his goal, but that's well held, and that's fine. Oh, still not the end of the highlight. Mansley, now it's over. Aaron Martin puts this ball in. Sam Stubbs is there. Close again. I've just realised Sam Stubbs and Exeter are on the corners the wrong way around. It's 1-0, but it's not disgraceful. And Aaron Martin did at least put in a 7.9. This annoys me, by the way. Youthful Exeter come unstuck. We are not youthful. In this starting 11, there's one teenager, Mansley. He's 18. Perkins and Ars are both 20, I believe. That's it. Everyone else is 25 or older. Josh Key's 24, sorry. Everyone else is 24 and older, and he's the only one. Centre-backs are 25, 26. McKenna, when he plays, is 27. Martin's 27. Rahman's 29. Good Johnson's 22, actually. I forgot about him. We're not that youthful. It's not a team of wonder kids. It's not a team of 18-year-olds. And if Ahulu's in there instead of Mwepu, that's a 26-year-old for a 30-year-old. And in fact, there's definitely an argument to be playing him over ours next game. Oh yeah, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. We got him as a coach. He's a decent coach in a couple of things, so he's in. The fact his media handling is unflappable. Was QPR manager once upon a time and does arrive with full Norwegian knowledge. That's where the Norwegian came from. That's how we found him. That explains it. Even though he hasn't been in Norway for like 4 years or 6 years in game. I know this isn't the average position map, but I'm happy with Aaron Martin. I'm happy with the centre backs. I'm happy with Josh Key on the right side. I'm happy with Benito Rahman's positioning up there. But Johnson is getting in the way of Baba Mansali, seemingly. And Sonny Perkins is really deep for an attacking midfielder. And the heat map has him quite deep as well. Right then, so those changes have been made. I've had second thoughts about Perkins. But other than that, I think the main thing is just try to get Johnson out of Mansley's way effectively. Perkins, whilst a little deep for my liking, was at least in his own space. Exeter and McKenna are going to play. In central defence, Key and Martin either side of them. Mansley, Ohulu and Mwepu in the middle. Perkins, Johnson, Rahman. Wasn't going to play a little bit more attacking because, quite frankly, I prefer it. I've kind of found in last year's FM and this year's FM so far, although slightly less so, certainly nothing less than positive, but I want to take it to them. Sheffield United, a slightly weaker opponent, of course, promoted with us last year. I want to take the game to them. Last year's BSA, of course, as well. So we played this year and last year's BSA back-to-back in a weird coincidence. But here we go. Only chance for them from a set piece. So here's 1-0. They've missed. Just every set piece I'm expecting us to concede from. I don't know why. We're just terrible at defending set pieces. We even did defensive training this week, so fingers crossed it works. Like an actual focus on it, I mean. Oh, Aaron Martin's been booked already. That's concerning. Ohulu, Mansley, Aaron Martin. Rahman's not paying attention. Bogle. Zinkernagel. Masengo. Johnson gets in the way of that one, and Rahman's on the ball again. For Mwepu to run onto. Mwepu going wide. They get a tackle in and they go straight to them through the magic of witchcraft. No, the magic of FM. Doesn't matter who gets the tackle in, the ball's going to go straight to them and they've scored. Football Manager. Well, I hope this highlight goes as far back as that tackle, because that was nonsensical the way the ball just lasers its way to their player. It was like a snooker trick shot where they laid it off perfectly. I just wish every player wasn't like Ronnie O'Sullivan. Rajkovic didn't cover himself in glory there either. I just saw that in the highlight as well, where he just sort of palms the air as the ball goes through him. Very close to dropping Rajkovic. Very close. Pad plays it short to Egan. Aaron Martin going to get in the way of that. He does indeed. A good Johnson on the ball. Back to Ohulu. Perkins. Perkins can get Rahman in, and Rahman's in. Not really in. And I don't know why he was trying there, but he's got the ball back, thankfully, this time. This time it's hooked clear. Why is no one paying attention? And if we could do something that resembles defending, that would be nice. It's counting. This is nonsensical. Absolutely nonsensical. So bad. It's so bad. The lack of anything there. What is Exeter doing here? Other than playing him onside. Zinkernagel. Oh, we've actually headed a ball clear for once. Rahman on the ball. Rahman, stay on the ball. Don't kick it to a person in red. Aaron Martin, don't kick it to a person in red. I know we normally play in red, and it can be a bit confusing at times. To be fair, it's confusing against teams who don't even play in red, according to the current statistics I have for my team. Most highlights involve one of my players passing it to the opponent. Perkins. Ohulu. Mwepu. Mansley's in. Mansley scored. First goal of the season for Mansley. First goal for Exeter for Mansley. 20 minutes in, we're back in this game. I did make a subtle change off screen there, but which was to drop Ohulu into the half-back role, which has worked so well, basically, all FM22. And it worked there, sort of, just Mansley being that little bit... Sorry, Ohulu being that little bit deeper. And you saw, with their two strikers as well on our two defenders, it was causing a little bit of an issue. So hopefully having the halfback there, effectively acting as a third defender, might help new to those situations, particularly as Martin and Key surge forward. You can see it already, actually, there. Although I am fully expecting him to just hoof it straight over our defence right now. You can see it already here. Oh no, that's actually Key there. But Ohulu's here, ready to deal with it. We'll just watch what Ohulu does here. Hopefully he's a little bit more alert, because they're in anyway. They're in anyway. Doesn't matter. Slightly marginally concerned when Aaron Martin did that. Rahman's in on it for us, though. Go round the goalkeeper, Rahman. Go round the goalkeeper. Don't smack it first time. Johnson doesn't get there either. I don't know why we're just terrible at both corners. It's like SI saw corners were slightly powerful for you and went, we're going to nerf the ability to head the ball across the board. Not even just from corners. Aaron Martin. There we are. You can just see Ohulu went off the screen there, but he was hanging back between our two central defenders. Now we've got the ball. He's sort of drifting forward a little bit. Mwepu. Perkins. Finds Johnson. Johnson should have scored. But this is better. I've never played a diamond before, but this is effectively what we're doing now. Mansley. This is going to be the last action of the half, and despite the fact we passed it forward there, you believe for the half-time, we're on top of this game. Not the best of team talks. John Egan's been booked there. Perkins on a free kick. We didn't score one for the entirety of last season. That's actually gone in. Come on, Perkins! Oh, Is this the turning point? Perkins scoring a free kick for the first time in over a year. Exeter have scored a free kick. The entire front five on 7+ ratings, by the way. Aaron's just joined them out of nowhere. Hulu's been booked. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Although, as soon as he hit that ball, I knew that was going in. Before I even recognised how well he'd hit it, I knew that was going in. It's depressing when you can see it coming. Just here, Muffy runs into a position to hit the ball and bam, straight in. Rajkovic is on a 7.4, worth saying. Even though I think he's questionable, their goalkeeper's on an 8.2, I've just noticed. He's conceded 2 goals and he's on an 8.2. Both goalkeepers having a very good day. They've saved a lot of shots, the pair of them. I think they both saved 10 shots, I think I just saw. Zinkernagel to Masengo. We've headed the ball, sort of successfully, but they've still got it. Cooper. My fullback doesn't really know what to do at this stage, and can we not slide tackle the ball in? Good. Rajkovic picks it up eventually and tries to release Johnson straight away. Wasn't successful in doing so. Free kick for them, so this is 4-2 Sheffield United. As I say, it's very depressing when you can see it coming. Rajkovic, inexplicably, 5 yards off his line. That's the weird thing, he's saved 11 shots in this game. Still think he's had a terrible performance. Ahulu, McKenna, Perkins. Remember when we were drawing this game? Rahman, sorry. The lovely goal from Rahman. This is a ridiculous game. Zezic on a 6.1. I'm going to get questions if I don't take him off. I don't normally take defenders off, but this is undoubtedly something I need to do. Rahman, it's a lovely goal, really. I don't know what's going on with our socks, by the way, in this third kit. I don't know why they're a completely different colour. There's another highlight. Perkins is on another free kick. Is he surely not going to go from there? He is left-footed. Surely not. Yeah, definitely not. Rajkovic escapes that game with a 7.1. I think we made another step forward there in that game. Dropping Rajkovic might be a good start. Rajkovic is confusing because he saved, 11 shots there. He's let 4 in, but he's saved 11. Pad has also had a blinder. He's saved 11 shots as well. We barely passed the ball, though, which is concerning for a team that I want to pass the ball. Maybe bring the tempo and the passing directness down a little bit. This, effectively, is the counterbalance for the West Ham game, which we probably should have lost 4-3 or 3-2, and this is the match that we should have won 3-2. But that was more promising. And of course, as this team begins to gel a little bit more, hopefully, it's a bad run, but sort of taking the Liverpool game out of that, we weren't in the Wolves game, but we were unlucky to lose it. We were in the Newcastle game to a degree, and we were sort of unlucky to lose it, but it's not that depressing that they won it. We did get something out of the Everton game, and we possibly should have won the Sheffield United game. But the fact of the matter is we probably shouldn't have won the West Ham game, so there's the counterbalance. But the one thing I've learnt is I think I need to simplify the central defenders again because they're not good enough to be ball players. I think the sweeper keeper needs to be defensive because Rajkovic just comes off his line constantly and costs us goals as a result. I think Martin and Key are fine to stay on support. I am tempted to make them attacking at times, but I think they're fine on support. Now, in this situation, do you go for a Mazzala rather than a box-to-box from Mwepu? We'll work on that one, maybe. He is box-to-box with drift wide, it's worth saying. Same with Mansley. Both of them are instructed to sort of drift wide anyway, so they're effectively half Mazzaling anyway. But I think otherwise, it kind of worked for the team. The front five did very well in that, so I don't really feel the need to change anything in the front five. It's the back end that need to do something. And I do suspect offside trap might have been part of the problem there as well. I didn't even realise I was on. That might be why a lot of the time they just let the ball go over them. But lessons to be learned there, and lessons I will take forward. Hopefully this helps going forward. Familiarity does need to improve in this quite drastically, actually. But it's 2 losses, but 2 very informative losses. But I'll bring you back when it seems sensible to bring you back. Probably late December, somewhere in that area. Until then, thank you for watching. Any suggestions, do give me the comments. Like, comment, subscribe, all the jazz, you know the deal. Until next time, ta-ra.